Ibrahim Traoré never trusted the rumors about secret American deals in Africa. But the day an anonymous folder landed on his desk, everything changed. It was a crisp Tuesday morning in Ouagadougou when his security advisor, Sankara, placed a thick brown envelope in front of him. Inside, photographs, signed documents, and a USB drive. All pointed to one shocking fact. Former U.S. President Donald Trump had used hidden oil contracts to squeeze Burkina Faso's resources through shell companies. Traoré leaned back, the buzzing ceiling fan slicing the silence. His eyes hardened. "Call an emergency cabinet meeting. No leaks. And Sankara, prepare the satellite link. Tonight, I want the world watching." Sankara nodded, tension crawling in his voice. "Sir, exposing this could burn bridges with Washington forever." Traoré smirked, tapping the papers. "I'm not here to beg the West. I'm here to free my people." Hours later, news drones circled the presidential compound. Rumors spread like wildfire. Traoré to reveal classified American secrets live on state TV. Thousands gathered outside the palace gates, chanting freedom slogans. In Washington, a frantic call reached Trump's private estate in Florida. An aide burst in, phone trembling. "Sir, it's Traoré. He says he's about to air everything." Trump's face turned red. He slammed his fist on the table. "No African punk is going to humiliate me on live TV. Get my people on the line. Shut him down. Now." But halfway across the ocean, a young African leader stood ready, holding files that could make or break American influence in West Africa forever. The presidential broadcast room buzzed with tension. Technicians hurried to connect feeds to major international news outlets. Ibrahim Traoré sat calm at a large mahogany desk, the incriminating documents neatly stacked beside him. Sankara leaned in, whispering, "Sir, Washington's embassy just called. They're demanding you cancel the broadcast. They say it's state sabotage." Traoré chuckled, adjusting his microphone. "Tell them to tune in. They'll get a free history lesson." Outside, the crowd swelled. Mothers with children on their shoulders, students waving Burkina Faso flags, all waiting for the truth they were told would never come out. Meanwhile, inside Trump's Florida estate, chaos reigned. Trump's lawyer barked orders. "Contact the State Department, threaten sanctions, get the satellite company to pull the plug if they must." But Traoré had anticipated every move. He had backups ready, satellite relays, social media streams, even radio broadcasters in neighboring countries. Back in the control room, a young tech signaled. "5 minutes to live." Mr. President Traoré's phone buzzed one last time. Unknown number. Against Sankara's protest, he answered. A voice, unmistakable, Donald Trump himself, booming and enraged. "Traoré, call this circus off. You don't know who you're playing with. You'll regret it. I made men like you." Traoré smiled coldly, replying in perfect English. "And I bury men like you when they steal from my people." He hung up as the final countdown flashed on screen. In Florida, Trump hurled his phone against the wall, roaring to his staff, "He's finished! If he says my name on air, I'll drag every dirty secret from his country, too." But Traoré, eyes locked on the red blinking camera, knew this was bigger than him or Trump. Tonight, Africa would hear its stolen story, straight from its defiant son. The live broadcast began with no flashy intro, just Traoré's calm face filling every screen from Ouagadougou to New York. His voice, steady as a drumbeat, cut through millions of living rooms. "Brothers and sisters, tonight you deserve to know how foreign hands carved our future without our consent, and who profited." He held up a contract, pages stamped with U.S. corporate seals, signed during hush-hush meetings while Burkina Faso's villages starved. The camera zoomed in on one signature, Donald J. Trump. In Florida, Trump's legal team scrambled. One advisor screamed, "We can sue every network airing this." Trump himself sat stone-faced, face flushed with rage and disbelief, as Traoré calmly recited figures. Millions in resource kickbacks, hidden accounts in offshore havens, hush payments to local warlords. Back in Burkina Faso, crowds roared approval. Elders who remembered colonial hunger wept openly. Young activists streamed the broadcast live from their phones, tagging it number Africa Unchained. Inside the studio, Sankara passed Traoré more files, confidential emails, bank transfers, a paper trail so damning even the most loyal American lobbyists would flinch. Traoré read each line slowly, letting every word strike like a hammer. Meanwhile, halfway across the world, analysts on cable news stuttered in disbelief. Is this real? Can he prove this? If so, this could rewrite diplomatic ties overnight. But Traoré didn't flinch. He leaned closer to the mic, voice dropping to a quiet promise. Burkina Faso's wealth will never again fund foreign luxury. Tonight marks the end of betrayal. Outside, thunder cracked, and the crowd, thousands strong, answered back, "Never again." Inside, Donald Trump slammed his fists on his desk, veins bulging. He muttered to his closest aide, "If he wants war, he'll get it." As Traoré's final words echoed through the broadcast hall, an urgent knock rattled the studio door. Sankara opened it just enough to glimpse two of the president's trusted guards. One whispered, breathless, "Sir, the American embassy convoy is outside the palace gates. They demand an emergency audience, or they say they'll take diplomatic measures." Traoré barely glanced away from the camera. Tell them to wait. They had decades to speak. Tonight, the people speak first. He turned back on air, ignoring the muffled arguments behind the door. Sankara's phone buzzed again and again. Threats, bribes, promises of new aid if Traoré would just stop the madness before it triggered an international crisis. Outside, the capital streets had transformed into a festival of defiance. Students projected the stream onto building walls. Old revolution songs mixed with new chants. Down with thieves, power to the land. Meanwhile, inside Trump's Florida estate, the ex-president's advisors begged him to appear on American TV, to do damage control, to twist the narrative, to deny everything. But Trump, red-faced, barked at them. "This African nobody is making me look weak. Call the oil guys, call the senators, make him hurt where it counts." But Traoré had already fortified his shield, local military on standby, border security heightened, and loyal commanders ready to counter any covert move. He knew this wasn't just about words now. This was personal. Leaning into the camera once more, Traoré addressed Trump directly by name for the first time. "Mr. Trump, you once said America would always win, but you never faced a people who have nothing left to lose. We are not for sale." The signal cut briefly, a last desperate attempt by foreign contractors to jam the broadcast, but seconds later, hundreds of mirrored streams popped up online. The truth was unstoppable now. Inside the studio, Sankara whispered, "They'll come for you tonight, Ibrahim." Traoré's eyes glimmered. "Then let them come. We have more to show." The capital held its breath as night swallowed the city. Rumors spread like wildfire. American mercenaries spotted at the airport, suspicious cars near the power station, embassy SUVs weaving through back streets. Inside the presidential palace, every hallway pulsed with tension. In the secure war room, Traoré stood over a digital map. Sankara and his inner circle flanked him, weapons holstered, but eyes sharp. "They'll test our gates tonight," Sankara said grimly. "If they can't silence you on air, they'll try in the dark." Traoré scanned his commanders, each a veteran of countless border skirmishes. "Let them come. We broadcast the files the people believe. Now we show them we protect the truth with our lives." Outside, loyal soldiers fortified checkpoints. Civilian volunteers lit barricade fires along major roads. Every drone operator in the defense force was on alert. If they came, Burkina Faso would see every step and broadcast it back to the world. Meanwhile, in Florida, Trump barked fresh orders to a shadowy security contractor via encrypted call. "Tonight, no mistakes. Bring me Traoré's head on a platter, or your careers are over." Back at the palace, Sankara passed Traoré a bulletproof vest. "Wear it. Even you're not invincible," Traoré chuckled, strapping it on under his suit. "Tonight I am, because I don't stand alone." Suddenly, an alert blipped on the main screen. Unidentified convoy approaching Palace Gate 3, moving fast. Guns clicked. Radios crackled. Outside the thick iron gates, armored SUVs came into view, headlights blazing through the smoke of the street bonfires. Traoré looked at his men, voice steady. "Hold your ground." No warning shots. They crossed the line. They answered to Burkina Faso. Outside, the people chanted louder than ever, their voices a human shield against the night's silent threat. The iron gates of Palace Gate 3 rattled under the force of the armored convoy, stopping inches away. A tense standoff froze the night. Loyal palace guards behind sandbags, and a line of shadowy figures stepping from the SUVs, their eyes hidden behind night vision goggles. In the war room, Sankara whispered to Traoré, "We can disable their engines with EMP drones. Say the word." Traoré shook his head. "Not yet. Let the world see who strikes first." He ordered the palace drones to switch to public feed. In seconds, millions online watched from shaky drone cams as armed men in unmarked gear fanned out before the gate, weapons trained but not yet raised. One mercenary, their leader judging by his calm stride, stepped forward and barked at the security cameras. "Open the gates! By order of international security protocols, your president is under protective custody." Inside, Sankara spat on the floor. "Protective custody? Oh, they're kidnapping you, Ibrahim." Traoré leaned into the microphone connected to the front gate speaker. His voice boomed through hidden speakers above the invaders' heads. "This is Traoré speaking. Burkina Faso is sovereign ground. Lower your weapons, abandon your vehicles, and leave alive. Disobey, and you die here." The mercenary commander froze, glanced at his men. Some shuffled nervously as the people's chants from nearby streets grew louder, echoing against palace walls. "Not our president, not our land." In Florida, Trump watched the live drone feed on a secure tablet, veins pulsing on his forehead. He snarled at his aides, "If they won't open the gate, burn it down. We don't lose to farmers with pitchforks." Back at the gate, the mercenaries shifted into firing formation. Inside, Sankara gave Traoré a hard nod. "Now, Ibrahim?" Traoré's eyes flicked to the war room monitors. The people were watching, the world was watching. He whispered, "Now." A silent hand signal, and hidden palace snipers locked in. The gate lights flickered, then blazed white. A single shot cracked the night. The first sniper shot struck true. The mercenary commander dropped before he even heard the crack. For a heartbeat, his men froze in disbelief. Then chaos detonated. Gunfire shattered the midnight calm. Palace guards unleashed controlled bursts from behind barricades, forcing the invaders to duck behind their armored SUVs. Sparks flew as bullets ricocheted off steel and stone. Overhead, palace drones broadcasted every frame live. Burkina Faso's defiance streamed straight to every phone on the continent. In the war room, Sankara barked orders into the radio. "Bravo squad, flank left. EMP drone, disable their lead vehicle, now." Traoré stood unmoving at the center of it all, eyes locked on the main feed. His voice cut through the comms, calm as iron. "No civilian casualties. Push them back, but hold this ground. Tonight the people fight beside us." Blocks away, thousands of unarmed civilians formed a human wall at the main avenue, singing freedom songs from the revolution years. They knew bullets might come their way, but they refused to scatter. Meanwhile, back in Florida, Trump's command center descended into shouting chaos. One advisor pleaded, "Sir, it's turning into an international incident. Pull them out before—" But Trump slammed the table. "No, he humiliated me on live TV. He won't get away with it." On the battlefield, the tide turned fast. Palace snipers picked off exposed mercenaries one by one. EMP drones swooped in low, frying vehicle circuits. An SUV burst into flame, sending the remaining mercs scrambling for cover. Sankara exhaled through gritted teeth. "They're folding, Ibrahim. Say the word, then we finish this." Traoré leaned over the comms, his voice carrying both mercy and fire. "Lay down your arms and leave our land alive, or stay and be buried in it." Across the capital, a single chant thundered, "Not for sale, not tonight, not ever." Smoke curled into the night sky as the last armored SUV sputtered, its engine killed by an EMP blast. Disoriented mercenaries, outflanked and pinned, slowly crawled from cover, hands lifted in surrender. From rooftops and barricades, loyal soldiers advanced, weapons ready but fingers steady. This was not a slaughter. This was a statement. In the war room, Sankara lowered his rifle with a sigh of relief. "Clean and quick, they never expected us to stand united." Traoré didn't smile. He watched the monitor's eyes fixed on the captured mercenaries now kneeling outside the palace gates. "They thought we were just another pawn. They'll think again." He turned to his team, voice steeled with resolve. "Document every name, every face. The world will see who paid them, who armed them, who ordered this attack." Outside, the people pushed closer, no longer fearful but furious. They wanted to see the mercenaries who dared breach their city. Chants shifted from defiance to triumph. "Burkina Faso lives free!" Back in Florida, Trump's inner circle panicked. One aide hissed into a secure phone. "Abort! Abort! Pull out the assets, delete the files, deny everything!" But it was too late. On social media, the number sign Traoré Unbroken tag exploded across platforms. News anchors replayed drone footage of the failed raid alongside clips of Traoré's unwavering broadcast. Inside the palace, Sankara watched Traoré quietly. "You know they won't stop. They'll spin this. Next time it won't be mercenaries. It'll be sanctions, bribes, maybe even our own people." Traoré placed a steady hand on his old rival's shoulder. "Then we stand ready, every time, together." A young aide burst into the room, phone in hand. "Mr. President, world leaders are calling. Some want explanations. Others want apologies." Traoré laughed for the first time that night. A sound equal parts relief and challenge. "Tell them we accept no lectures from thieves. Tonight, Africa stayed awake." The dawn crept in, painting the capital in bruised hues of smoke and hope. The people, sleepless but unbowed, gathered in front of the palace as the first sunlight kissed the barricades where they'd sung and stood guard all night. Inside, the captured mercenaries were lined up in the main courtyard, bound but unharmed. Local journalists streamed live feeds. The world watched Burkina Faso display its victory, not through violence, but through raw truth. Sankara stood beside Traoré on the palace steps, both wearing bulletproof vests still streaked with dust from the night's fight. "You sure about this?" Sankara asked, glancing at the swarm of cameras. Traoré nodded. "They used our soil for betrayal. Now we use it for the lesson." He stepped forward, addressing the people and the world. "These men came here not as invaders, but as proof. Proof that when you threaten a sovereign people with mercenaries, you do not break them. You forge them stronger." He gestured to the prisoners. "They will face justice here, in the open. No torture, no secrets. Let their employers watch and understand. Burkina Faso will never kneel." From the crowd, cheers erupted, punctuated by spontaneous chants. "Traoré! Traoré! Sankara! Sankara!" For the first time in years, the capital felt untouchable, not because of weapons, but because of unity. Meanwhile, international headlines spun in circles. Western news outlets scrambled. African president survives alleged coup backed by unknown foreign power. But on local feeds, there was no alleged, only a plain truth told by the people who lived it. Back in Florida, Trump's rage turned to desperate damage control. Lawyers drafted statements, donors whispered threats. But the story had already escaped. No amount of spin could erase the sight of American mercenaries surrendering to farmers and teachers defending their city. In the courtyard, Sankara leaned close to Traoré. "You've made enemies tonight, bigger than before." Traoré smiled, eyes locked on the sunrise. "Good. They'll never sleep easy again." The morning air smelled of gunpowder and fresh resolve as Traoré and Sankara walked side by side through the palace gardens. Once a quiet sanctuary, now a symbol of survival carved by fire and faith. Behind them, palace guards escorted the last convoy of captured mercenaries toward armored prison transports. Crowds lined the streets, not with fear but with song, old revolutionary hymns reborn for a new age. International reporters swarmed the palace gates, shouting questions no one could ignore. "Mr. President, will there be retaliation? Will you press charges against foreign sponsors? Is this the start of a new anti-imperialist movement in Africa?" Traoré paused, turning to face the cameras, Sankara standing just behind his shoulder like a shadow forged into an ally. "My answer is simple," he declared, voice calm but edged like steel. "There is no East or West that owns our future, no power that buys our silence. Last night they came with mercenaries. Next time they may come with lies, with money, with fear. But we stand one family now, and this family does not sell its soul." Applause erupted from the people clustered behind the barricades. Even Sankara, once Traoré's bitter rival, allowed himself a rare smile. Traoré turned to him quietly. "You see, old friend, sometimes they think we fight to stay in power, but really, we fight to remind them who truly holds it." Sankara nodded, his voice almost lost in the chanting crowd. "And who holds it now?" Traoré glanced at the people chanting his name. "They do, always have, always will." As the cameras broadcasted this final exchange, the world saw a simple truth. Burkina Faso had not just survived, it had declared to every foreign power watching that African dignity could not be bought, broken, or bribed. And for once, in every corner of the continent, millions believed it. Tonight, you didn't just witness a tale of mercenaries and betrayal. You witnessed a reminder that freedom is never gifted. It's guarded in the hearts of those who refuse to be owned. Ibrahim Traoré and the people of Burkina Faso showed the world that real power doesn't hide behind money or armies. It walks boldly among its people and stands unbroken no matter who comes knocking. So remember this moment. They sent soldiers for him, but they found a nation awake. Stay awake too. Stay free. But disclaimer, this video contains fictional content generated with the assistance of AI. It is not a real event and should not be interpreted as factual or representative of any individual's actual behavior. Viewer discretion is advised.